Hello everybody and welcome back. In this lesson, we are going to talk about something really important in Django development. That is built-in field validations in Django models. Anytime we save data into the database, we need to make sure that the data is valid. Django provides powerful built-in validation for fields like text, integers, dates, URLs, emails, and more. I'll walk you through the most commonly used validation options, how to apply them in your models, and how to actually trigger these validations before saving data. And as always, we'll finish with a hands-on worked out example. Now create and view books with validations, where you will see validations, successes, and failures in real time. So let's get started. Django provides a variety of built-in validations that help you ensure your database always receives clean, correct, and secure data. Let's explore how each of these work. Field validations refers to checks that Django performs on data before saving it. These checks ensure that users don't accidentally or intentionally enter bad data into your database. Now in Django models, if you want a field to be required, you must explicitly set blank equal to false. This ensures that the field cannot be empty. So this is how you set a required field, and this is an example syntax where we set the title as a character field whose max length is 200, and we say blank equal to false, which specifies that this is a required field and hence cannot be left blank. Next we have this max length validation. Now max length restricts how much text a field can store. This is essential, especially for fields like titles, names, comments, and so on. Then we have unique field validation. Now setting unique equal to true ensures that no two records have the same value for that field. This is commonly used for fields like usernames, email IDs, and in the example that we are going to take, we'll see that it is used for ISBN numbers of books. Then we have choices validation. Choices ensure that only allowed values can be saved. This is great for drop-down type fields like categories, status, or genres. Then we have numeric range validations. Django does not have a min value or max value in models. Instead, we must use min value validator and max value validator from Django's core validators. Then we have email and URL validations. Both email field and URL field automatically checks if the given values follow correct formats for emails and URLs. Now here is an important note, which is extremely important. Django does not automatically run validations when you call the save function. To enforce validations, we must first call the full clean method before saving. This is an important thing that you should keep in mind. Now let's go to the CodeChef platform and see a worked out example where we will apply these validations and see how proper data as well as improper data behaves with these validations. Now here I am on the CodeChef platform, and in the file explorer we can see that we have a project called book_project, within which we have an app called book app, and the models.py file of the book app is open here, and we also have its views.py file and a few templates like home and books.html. Now let's take a look at the models.py file. Now in this models.py file, you can see that here we have this class called book, and then within this we have some fields that are defined. First of all, we can see that we have this genre choices. Now this genre choices section creates a tuples representing the allowed genre options. For example, we have FIC, which is the value that is saved in the database, and fiction is the one that is showed in the admin or in the forms. Let me maximize this for you. So you see we have a few choices like that, like NON for non-fiction, SCI for science, HIS for history, and so on. So these are the allowed genre choices. Then we have this field called title, which is a character field whose max length that is allowed is 200 and blank is set to false. So these are the validations that are applied for this title field. The length cannot exceed 200 and blank equal to false means this is a required field and it cannot be left blank. And if you leave it blank, then it will throw an error. Then we have this author field, which is also a character field with max length 100 and this also is a required field, so blank equal to false. Then we have this publication year, which is an integer field and we have not set any explicit validations for this. Then we have ISBN, where the max length is set to 13 and unique is equal to true. That means this should be a unique field and no two ISBN records can be the same. That is what unique equal to true means. And then genre, we have its max length as 50 and we see choices equal to genre choices, and that comes from this set of tuples that we defined here. So the genres that you choose must be one among these and it cannot have any other values other than these. So that is what we mean by the choices validation. Then we have website, which is a URL field, and we set blank equal to true. Now setting it as a URL field automatically will check if the correct URL format is given, and blank equal to true means this can be left blank. Even if you leave it blank, it will not throw an error. That is what we mean by blank equal to true. Alright, now we have the views.py file where we have defined a function called create books, which is used for creating some sample books and adding them to the database. So we see that we are creating some book objects over here, and here I'm setting the title of the first book as valid book 1. Then the author is author A, publication year is 2020, and ISBN is this, and genre is FIC, which is a valid choice from the list that we had, and website also is example.com, which follows the correct format for the example. So we see that the first book follows all the validations correctly and hence it should be created correctly. Now if you look at the second book, you see that the title is missing. We are not adding any title, and we will see if it will throw an error because we have set titles validation as blank equal to false. That means it cannot be left blank. So we'll see if it throws an error. And then in the third book, we can see that the ISBN is the same as the ISBN of the first book. So in ISBN, if you remember, the validation was set to unique equal to true. That means no two books can have the same ISBN. So that means this also should throw an error. And then the website, you can see we say not a URL. So this is not a valid format for an URL. So this also should throw an error. And then here we are running this full clean method in order to run all the validations. As I already told you, the validations will not be applied by default, but you have to validate them using this full clean method, and then we call the save method. And to know more about all this syntax, you can read in detail what is given in the problem statement. Okay, then we also have the home.html file to serve the home page and a books.html file in order to show us the books.html page. Now let me run this and show you how it works. Then we click on the run button. Clicking on the run button should start the server and it will run the migrations so that the models get created and everything is applied. And you see the home page loads here saying welcome to the book catalog, create and view books. Now when I click on create and view books, the URL patterns are set in such a way that the view will be called, which is going to create the books. Okay, I did not show you the urls.py file. You can just check it out in the file explorer. So let me click on create and view books. Now here you see we get a checkbox saying added valid book 1, which was this first book, which was added because there were no errors. It fulfilled all the validations correctly. Now the second book, you see it says error adding book title, this field cannot be blank. So we already saw that the title was blank, and since title was set to blank equal to false, that means it cannot be left blank, and that is why the error has come here and that book has not been added to the database. Now for the third book, it says error adding valid book 2, where in the website field you see enter a valid URL because this was not a valid URL for the website, and also it says ISBN book with this ISBN already exists because this first book already had the same ISBN number like this last book, and since ISBN's validation was set to unique equal to true, we cannot have two books with the same ISBN. So because of that, this is also an error, and this book also has not been added. So the only valid book that has been added is the first one, which is valid book 1, author A, which falls into the fiction genre. So this is how Django ensures only clean, correct data is saved into your database. And that's it. You now understand how Django's built-in field validations work and how to actually enforce them using the full clean method. Validations are one of the most important pieces of data integrity in any applications, and Django makes them incredibly easy to use. Now make sure you try out the practice problems on CodeChef available for this lesson. It will help you solidify what you just learned today. So I'll see you in the next one.